Hi guys, I'm Phill from Australia and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today I'm going to show you the how and why you should be practicing pedal tones. So stick around. As you heard in the introduction, today we're talking about pedal tones. I'm going to explain to you why they're important, what the benefits are, how to approach them, and I'm going to give you an exercise so you can work on that skill. Stick around to the end and I'll show you how you can incorporate pedal tones into your current daily practice routine. There are three main benefits to practicing pedal tones for our trumpet playing. Now, the first one is that they help shape the embouchure. Your embouchure is the shape of your mouth, so the lips and your oral cavity. So it's not just your lips. A lot of people talk about your embouchure just being the lips and the shape that they create. But it's more than that. It's the shape of your lips. It's the tongue position and the tongue level. It's the openness of the mouth cavity up the back. And I also like to think of it as how open your throat is as well. So, but we always want the throat open. So that doesn't ever change. But more importantly, it helps us shape the lips, the tongue level, and also the shape of the mouth, inside the mouth as well. The second reason pedal tones are beneficial in your trumpet practice is they help us reduce tension of the lips, or I should say, they help us reduce unnecessary tension of the lips. Have you ever done your tuning note at the start of band practice? You turn up, you play your tuning note, you get it perfectly in tune. To then come back later after you've played for a bit, you come back a bit later and then you find that your same tuning note that was in tune earlier is now sharp. That is because you are doing this thing called pinching. Pinching is tightening the lips and creating additional tension in the lips that doesn't need to be there. This is inefficient trumpet playing, and we can fix this by playing pedal tones. And the third reason why pedal tones are beneficial to your trumpet playing is they help us learn the correct air stream needed to play all over the trumpet if we're using pedal tones and linking them to the register. So we can break this all down into one kind of step. Right? Essentially, playing pedal tones helps train us to play efficiently on the trumpet. Playing efficiently means we have a better sound, we have better intonation or tuning, and we increase our range and our endurance. Today's exercise is based on knowledge that I've gained through the Jimmy Stamp book and through the Pierre Thibault book. These are both fantastic methods, but I've created a small exercise which I can get through a lot quicker than any of the exercises in those books. But the concepts and the principles behind approaching these is still the same. So with this exercise, we're going to start with major arpeggios. We're going to start from G in the middle of the register, work our way down. So it's descending arpeggio, followed by ascending arpeggio. Try to keep the aperture the same setting the entire way through. If you are too tight when you start in the middle of the register, you'll notice when you get down to the bottom of the register, you'll notice that it opens up to get the right setting so the sound is full. Try to keep the aperture from the bottom of the register the same as you ascend. You want to use your air speed and mouth shape to get it, so the mouth shape internally to get it back up to the G. Sometimes you'll notice that the last note is lower in pitch than the first note. This is because you were pinching to start or you had additional tension of the lips that you didn't need. And the pedals, as I mentioned earlier, the benefit of the pedals is to learn the right aperture setting. Now that we've got that working, we're going to descend by semitones until we go down to the pedal C. I'll give you a demonstration. Now, as you heard there, as I went down into the pedal register, I made sure that I had a secure sounding note before I tried to come back up into the middle of the register. I'm using air speed to get back up, and I'm not manipulating my lips at all. It's the same embouchure setting, the same lip setting, aperture setting, when I'm on the pedal tone as when I come back up to the register. Here's some additional bonuses for us. Now, I could stop there. I've practiced down to pedal C. I'm not going to go any lower than that, but what I like to do is I like to try and link my entire register to the middle, down to my pedals, back up to as high as I can go. Now, we're going to build up to that because obviously it's pretty early in my practice session, so I'm not going to go straight up to my high C. What I am going to do is I'm going to do it incrementally. So I'm going to go C major down to C major. So C major below the stave down to pedal C, and then back up to C in the stave. And then I'm going to go back up. I'm going to go C sharp to C sharp below the stave, pedal C sharp in the stave. And I'm going to keep going from there and building my range as I go. And I would keep going to as high as I can without manipulating. You might notice that when you get started with this exercise that your range isn't quite as high as it normally would be. Now that is because when you are playing in the upper register or your upper register, you would be pinching or have additional tension of the lips that you don't need. By practicing this exercise and going down into the pedal tones, you're then linking the open resonant aperture that you need to play great sounding trumpet and efficient trumpet. You're then linking it down to there. If you want help structuring your practice routine, check out my free guide, Play Like a Pro, on the side. It's based on a 30-minute practice routine, and you'll get to cover off on all of your fundamentals and learn music as well. So you get to achieve your musical goals as a hobby musician. So check that out. The guide is in the description. If you're still here, you're waiting to find out how you can incorporate pedals into your practice routine without using a dedicated pedals exercise. Now, I actually like to put pedals on pretty much all of my exercises. So if I'm practicing my Clark exercise 2, once I've completed that exercise, I like to then descend into the pedal tones and then come back up into the register. So if I'm going to do like F major like I did then, I'll do that on every key. Now, one of the main reasons I like to do this exercise is because it helps me reduce pinching. Now, quite often we can start off at the right setting, but then as we fatigue through the exercise, we get to the end and we've pushed sharp. Right? If you look at your tuner, you'll probably, more likely than not, if you're watching this channel, you're probably sharp on your last note than what you were on the first note. So by using the pedals, it helps me release that excessive tension and then come back with my airspeed, which means I'm then using the right air stream and the right aperture and embouchure setting to play the note correctly and efficiently. So give that a go at home. If you want help with your practice, remember to check out my free guide, Play Like a Pro, on the side. There's a link in the description. As always, I'm Phill from Australia, and happy practicing.